Hi everyone, this is Michelle from the Snooze Clinic again. Yes, okay, I've got something to rant about today. Okay lah, it's not really a rant, but it's something to highlight, I guess. Yeah. So, okay, the message for today is keep it simple. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this session simple as well. Okay, so what happened? Right, patient has been using a non-vented full face mask without any exhalation port connector, adapter, whatever you call it, for about 11 months before it was discovered, right? This could have been prevented. Okay, so a bit of background. Patient was admitted to the hospital for a stroke. Patient's quite young, in his 30s. Caregiver's his wife. Yeah, young, pretty young as well. So when patient was in the hospital, they got him to do a sleep test, right? And yeah, he was diagnosed to have obstructive sleep apnea, so he was told to proceed with CPAP. So when I brought the CPAP over to the house, when he was discharged, he was using that mask, you know, the well, it's not a full face, it's a fuller than full face. It's the one that's from the hairline. I think it's called what, a fit line, is it? So I'm not very familiar with Philip's mask, yeah, but it's the one that covers from here to here. So all was good, right? So everything was good. And they didn't contact me thereafter. I didn't contact them either, because I mean, well, I do check the reports from time to time, and yeah, all is good. So there's no reason for us to contact each other, yeah, until 28th October, I think, yeah. So wife contacted me because they needed a new mask, yeah, and they wanted a mask, or they were looking for a mask that didn't cost that much. So after trying a few masks, they decided on the Quattro Air, yeah. uh, so on that night when they went back, they realized that they could not fit the Quattro Air into the Climate Line air tubing, so she messaged me. And I was trying to tell her, no, it's not possible, because all masks, all CPAP masks, CPAP tubings, and universal, so they're interchangeable. They should be able to fit each other, even if it's a different brand. And moreover, you're talking about a Climate Line Air tube with a Quattro Air. I mean, they're both rest mats. So there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to connect to each other. She sent me a video, and yeah, it was weird because the cuff of the Climate Line Air looked so swollen. Yeah, it was so stretched. Yeah. So when they put the Quattro Air mask connector in, it just went bloop. Yeah, it just kept falling off. Yeah, falling out, falling off. Um, so I told her, I said, can't be. She said, yeah, the previous mask, it was thicker. You know, your connector is too small. It's the wrong mask. And I said, no, no, no. I said, let me compare and show you. So I compared like other connectors and showed her, and I said, look, it's okay. So I have that same mask, similar to that same mask just she was using prior to getting the Quattro Air. So I actually took it and connected it to the tubing, and I said, look, it's okay, yeah, it can fit. And she said, no, no, our mask was different. It wasn't, the connector wasn't white, it was blue. Then I was like, you're not serious, right? Like, oh my gosh. I said, you're using one with the blue connector, a blue elbow? She said, yeah. I told her, I said, okay, wait, give me a minute, let me check something out. So I started Googling like crazy, yeah, at like 1 a.m. Well, because I'm not very familiar with Philips mask, but at least one thing I know, okay, why's my hair so messy, sorry. One thing I know for sure, right, like, For ResMed mask, the hospital mask, the AcuCare mask, I clearly remember that the one with the blue elbow is the non-vented mask. And I suppose it's like across the board, right? I mean, there are certain codes which are across the board, across all hospitals, across all brands, across like every country. I mean, like even things like code blue, right? Like whatever code blue means in one hospital is the same thing which code blue means in another, or another country, whatever. Yeah. So after Googling and all that, I was very, very sure that it was wrong. It was not correct for her to use the one with the blue elbow. So I asked her and she said, oh, but the hospital even gave us 2 of that and told us to use it with the CPAP. And I said, okay, wait, was there any other elbow or any other thing in the package? And she said, oh, no, I don't think it's an elbow. There was a plastic piece. We don't know what it's for. You don't know where to connect it to? And I said, plastic piece? She said, yeah, transparent piece. And I figured that was the exhalation port connector or adapter, yeah. And I said, I think you're supposed to connect that to the blue elbow, then connect your tubing to that transparent plastic thing. And she said, no, but nobody told us. And I was like, oh dear, you know. Okay, so I spoke to someone that I know in that hospital from that department, and I said, hey, can I just check with you, like, in what circumstances do you actually pass patient a non-vented mask to use with a CPAP? And she said, no, it's not possible. Even if that was done, they would have been told to use it with a exhalation port connector. And I said, yes, but unfortunately this patient from your hospital wasn't aware or didn't know they were supposed to use it. So patient recovering from stroke has been using a non-vented mask for 11 months, 10 months plus 11 months. And what made it worse, right, was that because he had 2 pieces of that, so he just used the Fit Life or whatever, or whatever it's called, the fuller than full face mask, for just a couple of days, and he switched over to the non-vented mask without knowing. Yeah, and he broke that after a few months, right? It would be good, it would have been ideal if he didn't have a second piece, but because he had a second piece of non-vented mask, he continued to use that mask. So if he hadn't broken it again, because I think he keeps breaking that forehead piece, so if he had not broken it again, and if the wife didn't contact me to buy a another mask, right, the Quattro Air, we wouldn't have found out. He would have continued using. Yeah, and you know, some people use masks like forever, right? So he could have been using the same mask for years and without anyone knowing. Yeah, and we all know how disastrous that can be, right? Yeah, I mean, so anyway, okay, so the message, as I mentioned, message for today is keep it simple. I can't remember where I heard this from, where I learned this from. May have been nursing school, may have been when I was doing palliative care, where we do a lot of patients and the caregivers, right? That it's very important to keep things simple, minimize instructions, minimize things that patients need to take, need to do, because that will actually minimize the possibility of making mistakes, which is true, right? I mean, well, if you have 2 parts and you tell the patient you need to put this and this together, there probably won't be any mistake, because like if this part's missing, he can't put it together with anything, he can't use it on his own. But if you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay, 7 parts, right? There's actually a possibility of making, there's a high possibility of making a mistake, because A can go wrong, B can go wrong, C, D, E, F, G, yeah, they can all go wrong one by one, and they can all go wrong together, yeah. So which is why I think the same, right? I think the same goes for like medications and all that. You normally try to minimize the number of pills, someone has to take, or you minimize the instructions, or you minimize the different timings that the patient has to take the medication. If not, the patient has got 10 pills, and one is before meal, one is after meal, one is midday, one is every 4 hours, one is every 6 hours, one is before dinner, after dinner, before sleep. Yeah, even I'll get confused, okay? So yeah, I think if we can just keep things simple, and yeah, and I think things like this can be prevented. Yeah, it's nobody's fault. It's not, I don't think it's the patient or caregiver's fault because they claim that they were not told. It's not the hospital's fault either because they made, I mean, the usual protocol is they should have told the patient and the caregiver what to do. Yeah, so okay, I hope this reminder helps in, yeah, in reminding you guys to not complicate things further, not complicate things that are really complicated further for the patient. Yeah, keep things simple, and I think all should go well. All right, that's all for now. Bye.